a teenage film snob, baby. I was a teenage film snob, baby.
Welcome back to Film Snob HQ. I'm James Chalmers, and this is I Was a Teenage Film Snob. This is the first new episode that we're recording for 2026. However, I don't know when it's going to get released. I'm meant to catch up with Maddie and Nick so we can go over our favourite films of 2025. So hopefully that will have come out before this. I've also got an interview with Jacob Honeybrook. Our good friend Roy is back to promote his book. Hopefully that episode's come out before this as well. But I am going to start doing a solo series, just like I did over the break. So our hiatus is officially over, hopefully by the time this comes out. But one thing I was really surprised to learn was that people really responded to the solo shows. They got just as many listens or streams as the regular shows, and people engage with the clips online as well. So being that I've got a newborn and that Maddie has a new schedule with work this year, we're going to take it a bit slower. We might only do we might keep it to fortnightly releases, but it might even be monthly for Maddie. So we're still figuring that out. And by the time this comes out, hopefully that's all been arranged. I wasn't going to do solo shows. I was just going to have a lighter release schedule. But given that, yeah, as I said, people tend to seem to dig them, I'll keep doing the solo ones. So what I'm going to do today is a new series on the podcast. It's still going to be I Was a Teenage Film Snob, but I'm just going to talk about not movies for a little bit, just to mix things up. So there are two challenges I've set myself this year, which we're going to talk about. If you dig it and you want to ask questions or write in or share your own stories, then of course we can go ahead and do that and we can make it really engaging. If people don't like the show, then it'll be pretty short-lived, I'm sure. But there are two challenges, as I said, I've set myself this year in addition to watching a bunch of movies. If you've been following along on YouTube or Instagram, you'll know I've been watching all the Marvel films, and I'm going to keep that contained to there, and the shows with Maddie and Nick. I'm not going to let that fill up these episodes, really, because after a while, you're going to get sick if you're in the same old things. So that's where you can find all that information. The first one has been very, very public, and that's that I am on a weight loss journey. I'm going to talk about that in a bit more detail today and on forthcoming episodes as well. The second thing is I've set myself on a bit of a video game challenge as well. What's maybe not been made clear over the last 4 years of this show is that I'm a huge fan of video games. I grew up playing video games, love video games, but being a movie fan and a movie podcaster, they've taken a back seat over the last few years. So I'm going to try and get back into that a little bit more and complete all the games from my childhood that I never completed. So that should be a pretty fun challenge. But I'll talk about that in more detail. Let's start with the weight loss journey thing. I'm not going to hit people over the head with it too much. Obviously, this is a personal decision for me. It's something that I have been wanting to do for a while, but not everyone's into that type of content. Not everyone wants to hear about it. So I'm posting my updates on Instagram every Monday morning, which I guess is Sunday afternoon for America. But what I'll do in these episodes is maybe talk about it a bit more, talk about some of the challenges I found, talk about some of the things I've been doing to try and make it work, and answer any questions people have. But it won't take up too much of the episodes. These will be relatively short shows, more focused on the video game challenge. But I kind of want to talk about this journey as well. So I guess we should start. Where do we start with the weight loss thing? I've battled with my weight pretty much since I left high school. I was always a pretty thin kid growing up. Didn't have to try too hard, had an excellent metabolism, didn't really matter what I ate. I could just keep it off because I was playing soccer and going to school every day and walking around. But once soccer stopped, once I got a job at McDonald's, once I got my driver's license, that was kind of the perfect storm to introduce me to the world of obesity. And I use that word very seriously because that's what I am, what I was and still am. Didn't really understand how to be healthy, which I know sounds a little bit harebrained, like how could I not know that? But I'd never needed to, so I'd never paid too much attention to it. I was the kind of guy in my 20s who would go to the gym for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then go to McDonald's on the way home. Obviously now, in my late 30s, I realized that that's not the cleverest idea. I just didn't really get it. I lost a bunch of weight back in 2017. 2017, when I got engaged, I made it my goal to lose enough weight to look good for the wedding photos, and I took off 15 kilos in about 18 months, um, 15 kilos, which is about 30 pounds, which is definitely nothing to sneeze at. It was a really good weight loss journey for me. Again, I didn't do enough research into it. I went vegetarian. That's what I did. I went vegetarian and only allowed myself to eat meat and treats one day a week, really punished myself, for letting myself go. Um, and it wasn't the most sustainable way to lose weight because whilst I was really strict with it when it happened, the minute I tried to introduce kind of meat back into my diet on a full-time basis, I didn't know how to manage it. I started eating more snack food, and then before I knew it, I was heavier than I've ever been. And I've been that way since the pandemic. Once my daughter was born, once the lockdowns happened, I kind of gave up on my health, and was probably honestly eating myself to an early grave. There were times that I'm very ashamed to admit where I would look at my plate and think, wow, when was the last time I had a vegetable? And the answer might have been weeks, which is pretty gross. I'm taking ownership of it. It's not anything I'm proud of. It's a pretty icky place to be, not knowing the last time you ate a vegetable. And so for the months kind of leading up to 2026, I kept seeing a lot of things online about how to get into shape, how to get healthy, and things I could do to manage my weight. And I kept putting it off, and that's the enemy of productivity. The enemy of trying to make better changes is procrastination. But I became really fascinated with one guy on Instagram in particular. And I'm going to shout him out and I'll talk about it a little bit more. There's this guy called Matt West. He's an Australian personal trainer. And he does a lot of videos where he kind of rates viral recipes in terms of how good they are for your health while still being delicious and a good snack and stuff like that. But he also has this challenge where he lets a bunch of people sign up. I say lets, like you pay for it. And he works with you and gives you the tools for weight loss and stuff like that. And I was really fascinated in it, but I was not really in a position to pay for anything like that. My son had just been born, so we've got a newborn. As of right now, he's 2.5 months old, almost 3 months old. He'll be 3 months old next week. I just couldn't commit financially to a program like that. But I liked a lot of the things he was saying. The things he was saying made sense to me. He had a calorie calculator which he gave out for free. You didn't have to pay for that. He explained how caloric deficits work. He explains in really simple terms how to eat well whilst making room for the things you love that might not necessarily be as healthy, and keep that in an exercise plan as well. And I knew heading into 2026 that I wouldn't have time to go to a gym. Not that I wanted to. I've spent so much money on gyms over the last 20 years. I don't need to sink any more money into gyms. I'm not looking to get ripped or bulked or anything like that. I just want to lose weight. But the stuff he was saying was really interesting. And the calculator he provided, as I mentioned, was really helpful as well. So before the new year, I pulled up the calculator and I gave it a whirl, and I had a bit of a look at what my deficit would be should I go into an exercise or healthy eating plan. And I was really surprised to find that my intake wouldn't have to be that low. And then what you start doing is once you learn about caloric intake and you start learning about how that affects you, you start to see how many calories are in certain foods. So, for example, I started in the middle of the first week of January. I don't remember the first date. I didn't kind of track it that accurately from day one in case it didn't work out. But I do weigh myself every week and I track that. And the thing I think will surprise people, and the people I've spoken to personally that are surprised about, is I don't go to the gym. I walk. I have a walking pad. Well, actually, my wife has a walking pad, which I've stolen, but I'm giving it back to her. And I will do 4,000 to 6,000 steps a day if I can. I don't necessarily have time in my day to do 10,000 steps. I work full time and I've got 2 kids, so I do what I can. But 4,000 to 6,000 steps I can usually manage in a day. And I eat at my deficit, but I still have chocolate milk. I have the lower calorie option, but I still have chocolate milk. I still have takeaway. If I go to McDonald's now, I'll swap out a cola for a sugar-free cola. I won't have fries. The fries at McDonald's are a killer. They will shoot up my calorie intake like nothing. But I can add nuggets. I can have a chicken burger. All that's totally fine. But my go-to is grilled. So if you're in Australia, you'll be familiar with grilled. Grilled are a fantastic meal. We can get chicken bites and fries, and it's well within my caloric intake allowance, so it's fine. But mostly I'm eating grains and vegetables and rice, which I guess is a grain, and plenty of chicken for protein, and I feel full. And I'm at a point now, I've been doing this for 8 weeks. By the time this drops, it'll be longer, but I've been doing it for so long now that my stomach size has changed. I now fill up on less because my body's used to it. This is all really boring if you're not interested in fitness and healthy eating and stuff like that. So I'm going to leave it there for the most part. But if you have questions, if you're interested in that, then definitely reach out, and I'm happy to answer questions people have. I'm under no means a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist or anything like that, but I've just, now that I understand how it works, I've kind of cracked the code. And, like one part of it is accepting the fact that some days you're going to lose a nice number of weight, and sometimes it's going to be a little bit less. But I'm 8 weeks in at the time of recording, and I'm down over 6 kilos, which is 13 pounds. So I want to lose a lot more. I want to lose about 28 kilos in total, which I guess is about 60 pounds. And a lot of people have told me that that's too much, but they are not in my body. I was morbidly obese because I'm so short. I'm 5'3". My weight was really unhealthy for my size. So to get into a nice healthy BMI, I need to lose at least 20 kilos, so at least kind of 45 pounds. And I'm, well on my way to that. And my goal is 28 kilos if I can get down there, but I'll adjust as I go. If I kind of get down to, I've been down to 65 before, 65 kilos. I've lost, that I've gone down to that before, but I want to go a little bit lower. I wasn't quite happy with how I was feeling and looking still. But so far into my journey, I've had a lot of really great changes. My gastric cough is gone. If you've never had a gastric cough, basically every time you eat food, your body rejects it. So you cough and you can throw up and all sorts of stuff. So that's gone, which is really good. I'm snoring less, which is good. Clothes fit, which is good. I can breathe easier. I don't need to take antacids every day. So even though I'm only, on the first few steps of where I want to get, I'm already feeling a lot healthier, and life is a lot more livable, which is really good. But anyway, that's the weight loss thing. I'm going to leave it there, and I will talk more about that on the next episode. But yeah, if you are fascinated by my journey, or you're on your own journey, you want to talk about it. I had a friend reach out yesterday, and they were like, it's really good you post your results every week, because most men don't. And most people who do post online show you the before and after, but not the journey in between, which I guess is why I'm really talking about it now. I've kind of been inspired to be like, yeah, I should talk about the journey. Like the toughest week I had was a couple of weeks ago, and I only lost 200 grams, which is not even a pound. It's really negligible, but it still went down. So I've got to celebrate those wins. So anyway, so that's where I'm at with the weight loss thing. We'll talk about it more next time. The other thing I want to talk about is my video game challenge. So as I mentioned, I've been a huge video game fan since I was like 5 years old and we got a Super Nintendo. But one thing I really struggled with as a kid and a teenager, even as an adult, is finishing games. Most of the games I own, I have not completed. And that's a problem for me. I will start things and never quite get to the end. So what I've done is I have set up all of my consoles in Film Snob HQ, and there are a couple inside the house as well. And I'm going to go through them game by game and talk about my experience and finish the games from my childhood that I never did. So I've got a list of PlayStation games, PS2 games, PS3 games. I've got some PS4 and PS5 games, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. I think that's about all the ones I've got them. I think I've got some Wii and Wii U games as well. I haven't pulled them all out of the tubs yet. But yeah, I'm going to work through them and see if I can finish a bunch of those games. Some of those games are horror games that were too scary. Other games were games that were very frustrating and I just gave up on. So now I'm kind of, as an adult, take my time, try to enjoy them and get through as far as I can. I'm going to try and do them one game at a time and not get sidetracked. That being said, I've got a Pokemon file and a Donkey Kong file active on my Switch and a Hogwarts Legacy file on my PS5 that I haven't touched in months, which I will at some point get back to. But as I'm in Film Snob HQ right now, let's have a bit of a look at some of the games that I'll be playing. So first up on the PlayStation, I didn't have a lot of PS1 games because the first PlayStation console I ever bought was a PS2. But of my PS1 games, I've got Crash Bandicoot, the very first one, which I've never completed before. I don't think I even got up to the second boss, to be honest. I gave up on that one pretty quickly. I've also got Crash Bash, which is kind of like a mini game. It's not quite. It's a bit like kind of like PlayStation's version of Mario Party, I suppose, which I used to love playing with my friends at their house. But in my own file, I don't think I ever got too far. So I'm going to start that one again and go through it. On the PlayStation, I've got The Simpsons Hit and Run, which I really enjoyed for the novelty, but never quite finished. Dark Angel, which I think I got up to the third boss. It's based on the James Cameron TV show starring Jessica Alba. Time Splitters 2, which I might have completed, but I can't remember. So I'd like to do that one again. I've also got 2 Resident Evil games, Outbreak and Code Veronica X. Code Veronica X, I think I got a decent way into. But Outbreak, I don't think I got past the first level. I kind of gave up pretty quickly. I've got Men in Black 2 on the PS2. Another game I couldn't get past the first level, so I'm going to hopefully get past it this time. The Punisher, which I think maybe I did a few levels on, but it was one of those games that was really violent and had a lot of cursing in it, and I grew up in a house that was very strict, so time did not permit me to play it very often. And then I've got Lord of the Rings The Third Age, which is kind of like an RPG Lord of the Rings game. So you play as an elf, a man, and a dwarf. But it's not Legolas, Gimli, and Aragorn, but it kind of is. So I think I got a decent way in there, but I didn't finish it. So we're going to play that one. So as you can see already, that's like 10 games. But there's more. On the PS3, I've got Grand Theft Auto 4. I've got Far Cry. I've got Dead Space 2. Captain America, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Assassin's Creed, the regular one. These are all games I've never even turned on. Never put them in the machine. Got them, never played them. Lord of the Rings War in the North, Guardians of Middle-earth, Grand Theft Auto 5, which I've never played. A bunch of Ratchet and Clank games, Quest for Booty, Tools of Destruction, Q-Force, Nexus, Crack in Time, Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, Spider-Man Edge of Time, Spider-Man 3, Silent Hill Homecoming, which I did start, but it was too scary. Resident Evil 5, which I got pretty far into, but my save file, I didn't have enough ammo, and I really struggled to get past it, so I'll try that again. Ratchet and Clank Trilogy, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. I think I got up to Deadpool, and he was too hard to beat, one player. And Lollipop Chainsaw, which I got a decent way into, I think. So those are my PS3 games. That's not all of my PS1, PS2, and PS3 games. Those are just the ones I haven't played. On the Nintendo 64, let me open up the tub and have a look. We have got GoldenEye, which I've never completed before. We have got... I don't know if I'll do 1080 snowboarding, to be honest. We have got Gex 64. Yeah, I'll play that. Mario Golf. Clocked a lot of these ones, thank goodness. Perfect Dark, which I just bought recently. So even though I've never completed half of these games, I'm still buying games that I need to complete. Donkey Kong 64, I think I finished. Diddy Kong Racing, I haven't finished. Mario Party 64, I don't think I've finished. So yeah. And then there's a ton more games in the house and in other tubs. Apologies for the background noise as I organise the video game section of Film Club HQ. So as you can see, even if I was to complete one game per episode, that's going to take me over a year to get through. Years to get through. So there's a lot of content. It's not going to be one game per episode. I've started playing Crash Bandicoot already. I set it up yesterday. And it's a pretty challenging platformer, which I'll talk about in a second. So it's going to take a while to get through all of these. Some weeks, the episodes will just be like, hey, I'm still playing this. It's driving me nuts. I might even record while I'm playing at times, so you can kind of hear me go along with the challenge. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. I've also got my mini NES and my mini Super Nintendo that had the preloaded games, so I'll probably play those as well. So as you can see, we're spoiled for content. I was going to do a video game show on Patreon. That's what I was going to do originally. I was going to get Josh and my brother to come and play video games with me, and we we're going to do a Patreon show. But even 4 years in, I'm not confident enough to start a Patreon yet. I just feel like I don't have a lot of time to create the content to a quality that I'd like it to be. And I just don't know if many people would pay for it. So at this stage, I'm going to do it all for free, but it's just going to be me by myself kind of talking about it. But if that's something you're interested in hearing, if you'd like to see me play these games, if you'd like to hear Josh and my brother's never been on any podcast before, but I think he would do a video game one with me. If that's something you are interested in, and more importantly, if you'd like to pay for it, let me know and we'll get it all organized and we'll start something up. But today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Crash Bandicoot, and then we're going to get out of here. So I put it in my PlayStation 3 for the first time in 15 years or so. And my initial observation is it's a decently challenging platformer. I've never really played it for too long. It's kind of it's definitely in 3D, but it is very much kind of in the same vein as a side scroller. Like, even though most of the time you're kind of moving forwards as opposed to left to right or right to left, most of the time you're going forwards. It's not designed for you to go out and explore and go off the track. So it's kind of like it's still very much in the heart of a side scroller type game. The difficulty, I would say, is medium to high. And I'm sure people listening to this are like, what are you talking about? Crash Bandicoot's easy. Not for me, man. Like, the first world was pretty fine, but the second world, the challenge was, it got to me. There are plenty of times where I've fallen and like I've hit myself and died and cursed and sworn at the TV. It's tricky at the moment. The graphics, shockingly, hold up really well. It's a gorgeous looking game. You know, this is the original. This is not the remaster. I'm playing the PS1 disc in my PlayStation 3, and the graphics are gorgeous. You know, it looks stunning. Like, it's very clear what everything is. The score is repetitive, but fun. The world layout is also quite repetitive. You get a couple of side scroller lessons or kind of front to back lessons. You get a river level. You get a climbing a fence level, and climbing the fence levels suck. I hate them so much. The first boss was really easy. You had to jump on his head 3 times. The second boss is, once I kind of figured out the patterns, it wasn't too bad. It's this kangaroo, and you have to kind of like explode these TNT boxes as he jumps near you. The first couple of times I was losing my mind. But now that I've done it, it's okay. But then the first level of the third world is driving me nuts. Apparently there's only 32 levels in total. So I think I'm like about halfway, maybe a third of the way through it. So I do imagine by the next time we do an episode, I should have finished it. That's if I haven't rage quitted, because it is driving me nuts when it gets hard. So we'll see how we go. But that's going to do it for now. Obviously, I didn't have much of a plan for today. I just want to kind of set up what the show is going to be moving forward. But that's where we're at. So next time we get together, I'll have hopefully finished Crash Bandicoot, or maybe if my attention span has waned, I'll have moved on to a different game. But I'll keep you updated on the gaming progress. I'll keep talking about the weight loss stuff. Send in your questions. If you want to ask me questions, share your story, like, definitely get in touch. More than happy to talk about that sort of stuff. But that's going to do it. The next time you plug in the podcast, it'll be me and the gang, or me with an interview or something like that. But it shouldn't just be me talking to myself. But people seem to enjoy it, so we'll see how we go. All right, well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys soon.